Good morning, everybody. Mestre Sukuri coming to you from Tokyo, Japan, here on Mestre Vibes Podcast. Welcome to this week's episode. So many things to say and so many great things happening. First, I want to talk directly to Gojira in Thailand, one of our Capoeira adored instructors. He just started his own class under the great supervision of Contra Mestre Cobrinha. Thank you for upgrading your Patreon support to $50 a month. It's a special Patreon level that it's top secret, but if you're in it, you'll know how great it is by the end of next year. So there's so many good things going on. Guys, remember, if you would like to support or raise your tier of support, you can always go directly to Patreon and raise a tier or lower it. So hopefully you just be raising it. Everything you guys always know is supports me here and does everything I do. Okay, this week I want to talk about a very powerful word that unfortunately seems to be disconnected to the capoeira world. And I'll tell you why, but also hopefully give you some outtakes, some thoughts on why it's like this. First of all, the word that we're going to be talking about this week is mentorship. Mentorship. I want to tell you guys a story about when I was in junior college, and then I'll bring it back to this topic of mentorship. When I was 19, 20, I was 19, 20, I was about to finish my last semester at Southwestern College, and I was accepted. I'd applied to many different schools, and University of San Diego was probably my number one choice at the time. It was very close, and having to move would be very difficult at that time. Okay, I had applied to Harvard undergrad program in political science and in Latin American studies, but at that time it was generally political science. And I know this is going to sound unbelievable, but I was accepted. I don't know if it was because of the essay I wrote. I don't know if it was because I'm a minority in the United States. I don't know if it was affirmative action. I don't know. It could have been the 3.8 GPA that I graduated junior college from. So I don't know. Or a combination of all those factors. But I was accepted to Harvard University. I got the paperwork and I was looking at it and I was just overwhelmed. And in my head, I'm going to tell you guys exactly what I thought at the time. It's like, wow, looking at the pictures of Harvard and how beautiful it was, I really, really thought that I couldn't, it didn't register in my head that I could actually go there. By that time, I've told the story about how my mom already ruined my credit using my Social Security card. And knowing, we call it like identity theft today, but back then it was just my mom being ghetto. And I looked at the prices of Harvard. I think at that time it was about $20,000 a year for tuition and $20,000 for living cost. And I thought to myself, no way, this is impossible. This is insane. I really had no confidence in myself stepping into what at the time I considered a very prestigious, elite, white world. I was going to have to leave everything I knew, all the culture that I knew of growing up, all my upbringing. And many years later, I realized that the reason that I didn't go to Harvard University, I'm not saying that I have any regrets. I have no regrets, and maybe in the multiverse, I did go. So we'll see how that works out in a future movie. But I have no regrets. I'm very happy in my life and very happy what I've done. And the reason that I didn't go is because as a Mexican American minority growing up welfare poverty line, I had no concept, even going to junior college. It wasn't until I got to USD, University of San Diego, that it changed. But until that, even at junior college, I felt upon reflection, most of the teachers were just kind of doing their job. They weren't really involved in, outside of teaching, they weren't really involved in mentorship. And because I had no mentorship, which now, for example, as I see myself act on with my students and with friends and with other capoeira teachers, mentorship is such an important aspect of growth for any person who wants to achieve anything in life. Without a doubt, if I had had mentorship from someone like me at my age back then, I would have gone to Harvard University and I would have done my best. I would have graduated from Harvard University, one of the top schools, if not the top school in the world. Like I said, I have no regrets, but I understand now more than ever the power of mentorship. So why am I bringing this up? This week, there was a young German, it's not contra Mestre Vaquero, it's another person who I have a lot of respect for. This person actually contacted me about 6 years ago after I wrote The Path of Capoeira. And the person had said, this capoeira instructor had said, everything that happened in your book is almost exactly what's happening in his life, in his relationships with his capoeira community. And I realized when I wrote The Path of Capoeira, it was going to hit a lot of things across the board. And this is why. The biggest problem I see in the capoeira world, or the biggest challenge that we need to overcome, is we equate a mestre the way we equate the master word in English with like Asian martial arts. We assume that a master is experienced, down to earth, and in a sense, an example of what it is to be a mentor. A mestre's job is to be a mentor. Unfortunately, this is, and a lot of people will contradict. So I'm going to talk about the people more my generation, my age. But most of the people that I interact with do not have a higher level of education who are teaching capoeira, who come from Brazil. I have rarely met a college grad, even from Brazil, who is teaching capoeira. As an academic and an education person, I really also have to say, unfortunately, outside of the United States, outside of first world countries, the academic level isn't as rigid as it would be in, for example, USD. When I've reflected, guys, I've traveled, I've talked to people from all over the world. I've lived abroad for many years. This is just my opinion. But generally, the academic standards that I held myself to and that my University of San Diego had were very high. And I feel really blessed. The program at Waseda University, as I said, the program was, my degree is in international relations at the Graduate School of Asian Pacific Studies. But at the time, when I was doing my master's, it was open. The same program also housed the newly created Master's in Business Administration, the MBA program. So I was able to take a lot of classes, and I took corporate strategy, negotiation. What else did I take that was MBA? Corporate strategy, MBAs. Entrepreneurial theory, marketing, and I took a lot of courses that, a couple more, and it would have been the same as having the MBA. I don't have an MBA, but I took a lot of classes in that. And this is really what kind of put my mind into this entrepreneurial position that I'm in now. And I think to myself, right, the couple of people who during the program when I was struggling with the MBA side, such as my really good friend David in Taiwan, who he will never know how much a few words from him really motivated and kept me going, and sometimes when it was really challenging and stressful. And I realized that these little things of mentorship are so crucial. And the challenge that I want to do, the example I want to be in the capoeira world is a mentor. I have a really good friend who's in New York in the banking industry, and he always always brings up the topic of how, this guy's kind of like a mentor, or this person's kind of like a mentor, and how important it is to not only have a mentor to give you that little boost when you need it, but also to tell you from another perspective of someone who's done it, how the system works, and so that you can have a clear vision on how you want to do things. How does this reflect to me in the capoeira world? So this young German capoeira instructor right now is going through a process of, he's teaching capoeira, but his teacher is back in Brazil, his mestre of 19 years. But the mestre in Brazil seems to think that the group is still his, that the students are still his, even though the instructor seems to have been teaching them for several years. For example, if I leave my academia for 3 years, it would be ridiculous, unless it was like a professional franchise or something, to think that the students are going to be mine when I get back. Like, I own them. They're my students. First of all, like I wrote in The Path of Capoeira, that's incredibly naive and ridiculous to think. It's some kind of weird ego trip or power like necessity to think that you own the students. I don't own any students. I am blessed and lucky to have all the great students that I have. I am really fortunate to have what I have. Every day I wake up feeling, wow, the people around me. And now I want to pass it on. So I told a young person, look, in my opinion, you should think about this. In my opinion, there's also this situation. In my opinion, I've also gone through this. And I also told him, I'm here if you ever need to talk. I told him that the people who care about me, I will always have time for. This is a very big thing about mentorship too. And unfortunately, a lot of times mentorship is confused with free business, free spiritual, free, philosophical, free battery recharging of your emotional state way. And what I mean by this is, this is weird. I always have something to do. I'm always creating. I'm always producing. This morning, I sent Mestre Linguiça email. Guys, be ready. Coming up soon, live performance by Mestre Linguiça and Mestre Sucuri. Capoeira music, old school. We're going to be getting together, training, and getting ready for a live concert. And it'll be, of course, made for you guys here on the Patreon channel. You guys will get the first look, the first listen. Hopefully we'll be able to do it live, and then we can broadcast it through YouTube for everybody. I'm just really excited because I love capoeira music so much, and I really want to do an amazing event. And this will be one of the events to help focus on everything else I do, just like here on Patreon. So the importance of mentorship is that I'm here for people to reflect, to talk to, and sometimes just to vent. Part of being a mestre is listening to people. But as I mentioned in my last couple of podcasts, I'm not here for everybody. At the end of the day, I'm constantly doing something. Yesterday, my son was like, Dad, did you do a full day? My full day yesterday is coming in at 8 o'clock in the morning. I discipline myself to be here at 8 in the morning. And I finish class teaching at 9:30. So I leave about 9:45 or 10 o'clock, depending on what's going on. This is my disciplined Wednesday. And generally Wednesdays and Fridays are like that. In 30 minutes, I will be teaching boot camp and I'll train. And then I'll be doing so much more. So I'm constantly busy doing things. So my time can always be organized because I make my own time schedule. But that's when I see that the value of mentoring is such an important thing. Being able to be a master, you also have to have the availability to people who will value what you say, respect what you do, and take and support what you do. I think of it a lot as like the old school. There was like here in Japan, when the sword makers back in the day, like samurai sword makers, would make swords, they would spend a long time, months, years. I'm not sure. I don't know the exact process, but they were supported by the person who was buying the sword, right? Because they knew that that person was going to do something good. And now that I'm at a point like that, one of the aspects that I really want to focus on and let everybody know is that I'm here for mentorship. Probably most of the people here on Patreon who know me, who are doing capoeira, are already engaged with me in some form of me mentoring them, me giving them advice, me doing the best I can for them from the experience that I have. Mentorship is such a powerful and important thing to be aware of as you're doing your growth in capoeira or in anything else. Guys, this week I'm on fire. I'm getting so much done. Again, Gojira, thank you so much for raising your tier support to $50 a month. I mean, I don't even have the words. Yesterday I almost started crying because it's really helpful. Anyone else who's in Tokyo or around the world, if you want to raise your support, just go to tier. If you're $3 and you want to go to 5 to 10 to 25, 25 to 50, with each one, I've got a whole new level of things that are going to be coming out. If you're in the United States or Europe, over the next 6 months, I'll have to send you what you have, what I have for you. Okay, I'm making a couple of new t-shirt designs. I'm making some new artistic work that you will be able to touch, hold, or wear. And in order to do that, I got to, get a little bit more support. And what I'll do is I'll send it. For example, if my daughter comes back or somebody visits me in Christmas, most of the people are more than happy to help. And they'll ship it off when they get back to the States. Or if I can reach my goal by the end of the year, I guarantee you I will be in the United States next year, and I will be in Europe, and I will be all over Asia. Let's try to get to that goal of, I got it written down here. I want to raise my goal a little bit more. I need about $1,000 more in monthly support so that I can cover my time, cover Mestre Linguista's time when he teaches here while I'm traveling, and the production costs of everything I want to do around the world. And when I say around the world, I basically mean right now Europe, United States, and all over Asia. Lots of music, lots of different things. So guys, thank you always. Even if you don't raise your support, I love you because it helps so much. You guys don't know. Not only does it help financially for me to do what I'm doing outside of capoeira teaching, your support, the most important thing it supports is my time. The other day I made the Brazilian percussion class. The video is only 20 minutes. But the editing, the planning, the uploading, everything that I had to do takes about 4 to 5 hours. So everything I do takes hours, just recording here right now. Okay, next podcast, I've got a special request from Contra Mestre Vaquero in Germany. He had asked me to talk about my recording process. What I will do is I'll make the next podcast and talk about the different software I use and the different things I do. Again, I'm not a professional musician or recorder, but I do know what I like to do. Guys, thank you so much for always supporting. Lots of love, lots of peace, lots of capoeira.